G'day guys, this is Big Nick from the Nutristic 4. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the other three to join me for the intro, but coming up is our first ever podcast. It is supposed to be about nutrition, but we're yet to actually talk about nutrition on here. So, let us know if you enjoy it. At the moment, it's just us talking utter garbage, but if it's something you like, if you like our vibe, let us know on our Instagrams or in the comments to this or something, and we'll start recording more of these more often and actually talk about nutrition if you're lucky. Hope you enjoy, guys. Ciao.
I like how there is not one of us that hasn't done or tried the shit that we tell people not to do now, that we try and educate around.
I remember downing green tea powder in water because I was too cheap to buy the capsules, so I just put it in water and downing it over my sink because sometimes it was the first thing I did in the morning. Sometimes I would spill it back up straight to the sink. The worst bit of that was that I would try and aim it back in my glass so that I wouldn't lose it.
Two Christies.
Oh, we're
I
on.
can hear you.
Hey!
Wait, turn your camera on.
Yeah.
Turn your camera.
Oh, I am.
Oh,
No, just
Don't break
turn
it,
your
just
camera back
turn it.
on. Just turn the whole thing. Yeah.
Now we actually
Right.
have to try and talk about something worthwhile.
Yeah, you're gonna have to be louder, Christy, because you're on.
yeah,
your
you're
built-in
super
mic.
quiet, Christy.
All right.
Just shout.
Dun, dun.
Just let the neighbours hear you.
Just put your face right up to it and go,
Yeah,
hi,
just
my name's
do the whole thing
Christy.
like this.
Hi, yeah, so I just want to introduce myself, mate.
Can you hear me all right now?
Yeah. Kind of.
It's better, but it's not great. Do your headphones go into this? Or will that be too close?
Better?
Hey! That's
Way
good.
better.
Ah,
Much better.
Okay,
Cool.
can everybody hear everybody and see everybody before we get too carried away?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
That was a bit scary. Don't.
Was that loud?
Did you see his mic? Yeah.
How big is that mic?
Look, this thing.
When it first came up, I thought it was like
Oh my
Little-
god.
A buck.
dildo.
flashlight.
This is for an album that I'm recording. A flashlight,
dear.
not a flashlight. Remember, private jokes aren't going to work in here because nobody will understand them. I was
I can
thinking
explain
about
it
this
if you
earlier
want.
on.
I still don't understand. Just to
What a flashlight is.
you don't need to explain it to me now.
He knows what it is now. The problem was I mentioned it. She like posted on her story that she had the pad for the hip thrusts next to her, and it was like just sitting there, and the angle of it you could see right down the hole of the hip thrust pad. And I was just like, "Why are you in the gym with a flashlight?" And she was like, "A flashlight." And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "What's that?" And I just said, "Google it."
This is another situation where I googled it while I was at school as well. So
You're gonna get shut down. Christy's not allowed a computer. because
I
she's
need to stop
Googling
using
weird
school
stuff.
Wi-Fi for sure.
Yeah.
True.
Especially with that search history. I'm just tagging these all on Insta.
Woo!
I'm not very confident about this.
Why not? Don't
I am.
overthink it. I don't give a
It's going well so far. We've already got flashlights.
If I hadn't done that that podcast,
Sorry,
that
I'm
week,
not.
I'd
I'm
be
laughing
weird
at
about
Sky's
this.
eyebrows. That's why.
Right, we're all tagged.
Right.
Cool.
You can lead us. You are the boss man.
Who is?
I'm the
Nick.
boss man.
Yeah, Nick is.
I wouldn't say I'm the boss man.
You are the
Oh, no.
pioneer of this endeavour.
None of us know.
Wait, what are we actually calling this, by the way?
Yeah,
it's
we need to
like-
come up with a name. I thought it was the NutriCast.
I do like the NutriCast.
Does that already exist though? Has anybody googled it?
Yeah,
No.
it definitely already exists. That's
It must do.
a really obvious name. Hold on, I'll
Wait,
Google
We're
it.
not
Put like Could we not like change a letter or something?
Right.
Nutrisist.
What
I'm
about
just going to be
the?
1 minute.
We could, instead of a S, we could have a Z.
That's what I was thinking. Do you know what? I've been upstairs watching this zombie program, and I'm like, yeah, let's Nutri-Z. I don't know.
Nutri-Z.
No, just in my head, it's
Oh.
like a Z. I want a Z in it.
The
I have
nutrition
a feeling
apocalypse.
that think this-
The nutrition
Yeah.
bit.
Nutrition apocalypse. That's
All that's left is ketog.
right.
It's definitely
Yeah.
already a podcast, by the way.
Yeah, is it? I'm just trying to Google.
I have a feeling we're going to be here a while, so
This is going to take some editing, by the way.
Very nice.
I was just going to say that. Nick's got plenty of time to edit.
I am actually in Ireland all next week, just on rugby tour, so I got bulk time to do it all then anyway.
Cool.
Amazing.
Right, what are we calling this? Because I want to put it on this thing I put it on my story.
So we can't call it NutriCast?
Why?
No?
Is it like...
I'm just...
because Nick said it exists.
It's definitely taken, because I just Googled NutriCast podcast and something came up.
Okay.
Something clever. Come on. Let's get our thinking caps on.
Yeah, it is on there. It's a podcast by Nutria, so that one's gone.
Nutria. Christy, I'm a bit dubious about this light behind you. You could have like positioned better, rather than having the sun behind you.
What about your ring? Couldn't you put your ring in front of you?
I would.
Yeah, put your ring on the camera.
Show. Pink
I would have
ring.
done because I wanted my laptop, but now I've
Wait, Christy's wearing a nutritionologist t-shirt. She is repping.
What about the nutritionologist cast?
The nutritionologist cast.
I don't like that, Nick.
Nutritionologist cast?
Say how you feel, Christy.
Nutritionologists.
I'm sorry.
I honestly don't know. I thought it was NutriCast.
What about something like squared? Because there's 4 of us. Oh.
Something to do with 4. Something to do
Yeah.
with 4.
That's a good shout.
That is.
I thought you were going to.
Wait, what's the name of our...
What about?
Yeah, like, I've got it.
What about
Whatever.
just the Nutristic 4?
That's pretty cool. Good. I'm googling it.
You mean
Google
what
it.
our? That's
Yeah, it's what our- what's
Yeah,
our
that's what our
anyway?
thing was. I thought we were going to go with that anyway. Yeah, boom.
Or we could stick with the zombie thing and go the 4 nutritionists of the apocalypse. Nutristic 4.
Go.
And then we can all dress up like superheroes and get our photos taken.
Yeah,
I didn't plan
Nutristic
this
4
ahead of
doesn't
time at
exist.
all.
That's all
cool.
you're in this for, isn't it, Nick?
Right.
I just want to be
So
part of
that's
some
it then.
super team.
Nutristic 4. Are we agreed?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm cool on that.
Can we all fist pump for Nutristic
Yeah,
4, please? Boom, boom. There we go. So that's a thing now.
For the nutrition
Definitely.
and stay for the fisting.
Nutristic 4 or the Nutristic 4?
I reckon.
Because isn't it the
the-
Fantastic 4?
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, right, I'm putting this on my story.
The Nutristic 4.
It's official.
This is the
I mean, I
Oh,
would,
shit.
but I can't get to my phone right now, so
We're going to have to sort Christy's lighting situation for next time.
Oh, right, hang on.
Yeah.
We can sort it now.
I'll send you a blackout blind.
Right.
Just send her your ring and a green screen.
I'm not even opening it yet.
I've got a gin and tonic in this room as well.
I should have had my
Might
green
drive
screen
me
set
to
up. I could have been sitting in Hawaii.
it. Who are we?
You definitely should have.
How's this? Any better?
Amazing.
Yeah,
Way
now
better.
we can see your back. That's perfect.
Yeah.
You lot are never happy. Better?
Like so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I'm happy with that. So, if it's going to be the Nutristic 4, should we just use the picture that I already made that's artistic
Yeah,
and
but-
amazing?
For now, I
Yeah.
would say.
Or
Yeah. And then we can just dress up for realsies
Why
when
does
we're
it
all
tell
in
me I have
knots.
a dirty elbow?
Yeah. Sick.
I have this idea of, you know how when you get the UFC posters and it's like they take all the individual profile pictures of them all and have them all kind of like standing like side on like this. I have this vision of us getting a picture.
Well, you two have already got this cross-arm business down.
You need to cross the arms because then you put the fist under the biceps and just like total.
Yeah,
Don't really.
Perfect. Love your shirt. This is difficult to keep track of 4 people at the same time. Is it your Egyptian?
Bruce's getting a swans out. The stick.
It's not really, it's that dance.
Okay, shall we intros? Are we doing each other's or are we doing our own?
Yeah. I reckon we can do each other's.
Okay.
I just want to check how much time we got before it cuts off.
Well, how does that work with us doing each other's?
Okay, so this is Sky. She's there on mine, is she there?
She's there on mine.
She's there on mine.
Do that then.
there.
Oh, wait, she's there for me, but there for you.
So you don't say on my left is Sky.
Stop trying to finger me.
Oh, this is going to take some editing.
I think we should intro ourselves.
Good call. I need to calm down a bit. I don't think the chocolate was a good idea. Hey, I bought that microphone that you had before. I actually bought it and I haven't used it.
What, this big thing? This?
No, the little one.
Oh yeah, the for going live
The little
and
clip
stuff.
one.
Yeah. It's all right. Annoys me a bit. Although I don't think this would be ideal for live chats, like standing here talking to people. Yeah, look at this behind me here.
Best you've ever looked.
Right. Shall we actually talk about stuff? Okay. I am Jason Monroe. I am 33 from a place called Falkirk in Scotland, coming to you live from the shed in the back garden. I used to make slabs for a living. Slabs in monoblock. Sitting staring at big machines making concrete products for 12.5 hours a day, going, there's a bad one, put a good one in, there's another bad one, put a good one in. And I did that for 11 years. And then stumbled across nutrition, started my own Instagram, documenting like my own kind of weight loss journey and fitness journey and stuff. Built a following from there. Started getting people messaging me, asking questions, and then I started helping them out. And then this went on and on for months, to the point where I was speaking to so many people on Instagram that it was like massively time consuming. So I decided I was going to put all the information in one place in a Facebook group. And then spent the last 6 months of 2017 writing a fat loss guide. And on January the 1st, 2018, launched the Monroe Fitness Facebook group. And what's this, like 12, 13, 14, 16 months on? April, yeah, 16 months on. The group's just constantly grown since then, almost at 1,800 members today. And halfway through Mac Nutrition Uni to try and help the education catch up with the business that's taken off to the point that it has, so that I can then help more people beyond the kind of rudimentary basics that we deal with in the group, because it is very basic introduction to how not to eat like an idiot, how to eat like a sensible person in a balanced way. And that's it, I think. Did I cover everything? I've covered everything, yeah.
Yeah. We should probably mention as well that we're all on the same MNU intake.
That's how we know each other. People are going to think, how do these random weirdos end up at the Nutristic 4?
The Nutristic 4. Yeah.
And we're probably also going to mention Martin a bunch of times without realizing it. So for anyone who is listening, that's Martin McDonald, because we're probably not going to say his full name every time.
Yeah. What to do is, at some point, someone should probably just mention, like, properly the MNU thing. We could maybe...
I'm going to head to the door. Someone's knocking on my door.
We could maybe cut that in, edit it, and, like, kind of put it in, you know, like, cut it in before we do this.
So what I was thinking, because what they do on most podcasts is you record the intro after the podcast. So
All right, cool, yeah.
On the podcast, we talk about blah, blah, blah. And then if we need to, we can always do this stuff again.
Yeah.
I'm surprised how well this is working. Like, I kind of thought that 4 people on the same line would end up with just like chatter, but we're quite good at turn taking.
Yeah.
Whose turn is it now?
Yours.
That'll be yours. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, I am Sky Asquith. No one knows my last name because I never use it, but you can just call me Sky Elizabeth. So I have not been in the industry that long, really. I feel like I'm a bit of a baby, but 6 years. So went on the usual route of A-levels, nothing to do with fitness at all. Then went to uni, did English, was going to be a teacher, dropped out, and then just basically fannied around, worked abroad, in and out of dead-end jobs, and then ended up breaking my hip because I was pretty much leading that much of an unhealthy lifestyle. And Nick, I think you asked about this before. You're like, I feel there's an interesting story behind this. So I was on a kid's scooter and I hit a drain and I broke my hip. And that is a true story.
What did you do? Did you go over the handlebars?
No, I just hit the drain and there was just a shooting pain in my hip. And I just did it. That was it. No walking after that. I thought it was just like trapped nerve or something. But then flew home to the UK, went to hospital and they were like, yeah, you've broke your hip. So yeah, that was kind of my turning point, and from there I went on to do my level 2, just basically to get some knowledge for myself because I'd never really stepped foot in a gym. And then that was when my kind of weight loss journey started. I did all the stuff that we tell people not to do now, all the stupid stuff. Then went on to do my level 3 and then started working as a personal trainer. And now I work as a gym manager in Pure Gym. And obviously I've started MNU because that has always been my weakness. You don't really get taught much about nutrition on your level 3 course. So that was something that I really wanted to do. And then I met you guys.
And then everything just got so much better.
Exactly. So yeah, that's me.
You got paper scissoring for me for this?
No, you got more followers. You're up.
Right. Well,
you should have gone before me, Christy, because you've got more than me.
Nick completely planned this out. That's why he started a new Instagram, just so he could go last on this.
Yeah.
How far back do you go? Like,
God, I haven't gone that far back. We don't want to know about me as an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of think it's important to say that I've been a like yo-yo dieter and basically been big or was big for like all my life, really. Like remembering things like my sister and me just being completely different. We lived in the same house, had access to the same stuff, and just being that person that just didn't have a clue why I wasn't like her. And then went through all the ringers like Slimming World, Weight Watchers, all that kind of stuff. I bought raspberry ketones, for God's sake. A waist trainer.
I've had a waist trainer. Guilty.
Oh, unbelievable.
I've tried not a waist trainer, raspberry ketones.
I think they're still in the cupboard somewhere, just like rattling away. Yeah, all that. Didn't sort of played around with it to and from. I think I had a form of bulimia in sixth form. Not the one where you throw up, the one where you do excessive exercise, or you feel like you've got to exercise because you've eaten.
Yeah.
And I was eating like 800 calories a day and then would not go to sleep.
Until you bumped them all off.
Yeah, I used to get out of bed at like 11 o'clock at night because I couldn't sleep if I didn't go for a run around the village. And when you're 17, you really shouldn't be going for a run at 11 o'clock at night in the dark on your own. Yeah, so kind of sort of accepted that I was destined to be like a size 12 to 14. That's the best I ever got. And then sort of let myself go a bit. Came back from living in New Zealand, where I felt like nothing was under my control, and got back home and decided that that was the easiest thing to get back under control. So started a fitness journey thing. All started an Instagram because I didn't have enough memory on my iPhone. It was a little 5S. It didn't have enough memory just to have the photos, so I made this private Instagram. I was like, I'll lob them all on there and not tell anybody about it. And it's just grown, and learned about calories, and found Martin on the course like you guys. Learned more about nutrition and choice, and how much choice there is once you know all the facts. You know, I think that's kind of like what I deem to be healthy, like giving somebody all the choices that are available to them, and they get to decide. You know, I've gone off on a tangent there, but
Christy, we don't even know what you do as a job yet.
oh gosh,
Yeah.
my job's not related to this at all.
Well, it is. It ties in.
Well,
Kinda.
I went to uni because I wanted to do psychology, and then I wanted to be a clinical psychologist after. So I wanted to do bachelor degree and then a 3-year doctorate. But by the time I finished the bachelor's, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get out of uni. And was working at New Look, and I had supervisors that I thought, why are you telling me to do this? That makes no sense. You know, when you can tell that the person in charge is like they've got a clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I was in the Air Force, of course I did.
yeah, and my dad heard about a teaching course, and I was like, oh, well, that'll use my degree, might be worth my time, and kind of like ended up in it by accident, but finding out that I really like it. So now I teach English and psychology to 11 to 18-year-olds.
Fun.
Nice.
Is that enough?
No, please
now.
keep going.
Yeah.
Why stop there?
Nick, you're up.
Now Nick is going to just blow us all out the water.
I wouldn't say I'm going to blow you out of the water. Right, so I played rugby my whole life. I started when I was 4, and I'm now almost 30, so we're coming up on 26 years of rugby, apart from like a bit of an injury, illness thing in the middle. Finished school, joined the Air Force because I wanted to go to uni. I actually wanted to study music at the time, but I sort of like fobbed off school and didn't really go enough, so I couldn't go to uni anymore. So yeah, I joined the Air Force as like my backup plan, although when it happened, I was pretty proud of myself and whatever, and then I actually got in and realized what kind of numpties they led into the Air Force. So like I had to pass a medical and stuff to get into the Air Force as well, and they were like, oh, what's going on with your kidneys? And I was like, oh, nothing. The doctor said it's fine now, like it's all recovered. So they let me in, and then less than 6 months of being in the Air Force, it all happened again. So I had a blocked kidney, and it basically expanded to like 5 times its normal size, and I had infections and like open surgery on my abdomen and all this stuff. And it took me like 2 years to recover from that. Thankfully, I was in the Air Force and they covered everything. But during that time, I got fucking fat. I did not move. Any time that I didn't have to move, I didn't move. I just ate junk food all the time. So I'd just sit in front of the TV or playing Xbox, eating Ben and Jerry's and chips and chocolate and anything I could get my hands on, because it tastes awesome, and that's how it was for me. I had nothing else to do. Like there were times where I couldn't move, and that's what I would do. I didn't really realize I was that big. Like I carried it pretty well. I just got fat everywhere instead of like a massive gut or something. And in the Air Force, and we had to go for medicals every year. And eventually I got to the point where I couldn't use my sickness as an excuse anymore. And they were like, no, you should probably go see a dietitian. And I was like, yeah, cool. I would go into the dietitian's office. I didn't even own a pair of scales. I just got on the scales, and they were like, 151. And I was like, are you kidding me? 150 kilos. So I got back into my office, and I was like, I don't know. I didn't really know how to deal with it. So I just acted like I was really proud of it. I was like, yeah, I was 150 kilos. But like deep inside, I was like, fuck, I'm 150 kilos. So anyway, I then started taking, exercise and nutrition more seriously. And obviously, being a guy, I thought I knew everything about it all. I read a couple of blogs and maybe listened to a podcast or something, and then thought I knew everything, and was low carb, keto, but also fasting, and also putting in the morning I had this coffee that was fucking disgusting. It would have green tea powder in it, creatine, coconut oil, and unsweetened BCAAs.
Oh my God.
It was disgusting. And I would just be like, yeah, I love this stuff. And I'd drink that until 2 p.m. It was absolutely horrible. Anyway, I went through a couple of years of figuring out for myself how to eat and how to exercise better. And I got to the point where I was fairly lean, but I was running all the time. I wasn't really in the gym. And people started asking me for advice because they'd obviously seen me at 150 kilos and now seen me at I got down to 105 at the time. And they were asking me for advice. And I was like, yeah, just cut out carbs and drink coffee with BCAAs in it. And I just told them exactly what I did, which was absolute garbage. And then, yeah, exactly. And then I moved to the UK. And so I joined a gym. And then it was just a whirlwind. I signed up. I want to say turned my fat into muscle. I was a fat 115 kilos, and then within 3 months I was a stocky 115 kilos.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys at the gym were kind of just starting out, and they asked me to help out, and then I was running classes, and they were putting me on courses, and it kind of just snowballed. And I was working in recruitment at the time, and then I was going to the gym in the morning and opening up at 5:30, and then I'd go to my recruitment job at 8. And then in the afternoon, I'd come back to the gym at 5:30, and I stayed there till 9 at night and run classes and man the desk and whatever. And so then I was like, fuck it, I may as well do my PT course. And so I did my PT course, became a personal trainer. And then I understood a little bit about nutrition, but again, it was just what I got from podcasts and stuff. And then I listened to, I think, a podcast with Mike Israetel, and then he's obviously really evidence-based. And then I listened to some with Martin McDonald, and then all of a sudden I found myself searching PubMed for what actually works. And I was this is 2 years ago, and Martin actually had the time to reply to your messages and stuff. And I was having these massive in-depth conversations with him, and we'd get 10 messages into a conversation, and he'd just be like, you really just have to do MNU. I can't spend all my time answering your questions. So eventually I got enough money to sign up. Yeah.
I was going to ask, if those conversations were 2 years ago,
yeah,
why didn't you do MNU sooner?
MNU is not cheap, and I was working in recruitment, and I'm terrible at sales. I did 2 years in recruitment and never recruited anybody. Most people don't laugh more than
How did you last so long?
I made friends with the bosses, and I might not be able to sell stuff, but I'm a real people person, so nobody wanted me to fail. So everyone, my bosses and their bosses, were like, oh, he's getting there, he'll get it next month. And I would do an almost placement, and they'd be like, oh, he got so close, let's give him 3 more months. And he just kept happening. It was 2 years down the line, and my boss, bless him, was like, man, it's been 2 years. You probably either need to start pulling your finger out or find another job. And I was like, yeah, give me 6 weeks. I've almost finished my PT qualification. And then it was literally, I finished recruitment, walked straight into a job in a gym. And yeah, that was kind of it. I haven't really done that much in the industry. Like I was a personal trainer, and I actually work with a lot of like semi-pro athletes now, just by chance, just from knowing the right people. And I'm like a level 2 S&C coach, and I'm an Australian Weightlifting Federation coach. I've done heaps of qualifications, but yeah, now I work in a social media company that can't be named on this. Yeah. Anyway, you said Chrissy's was long.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Mine's feels like shit now.
Jesus.
I only went back a year.
No, that was super interesting.
Missed
actually.
opportunities.
Yeah, that was cool. I like how there's not one of us that hasn't done or tried the shit that we tell people not to do now.
Yeah.
And we try and educate around.
Yeah.
Well, you got to
Yeah.
have been there to understand it, haven't you?
The old unflavored BCAs is one thing that I'll always remember. They taste terrible.
Yeah.
And I didn't want flavor because I didn't want the calories, but then I was putting coconut oil in with them.
Coconut oil in with
Don't
them.
want calories
Yeah.
from the
God.
flavoured BCA, but get the oil in.
Yeah, because you obviously can't put on weight if you're just eating oil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Fun.
Right. Where do we
Back in the room.
Where do we go from here?
No, I was
this is
just
going to cut off
thinking-
at any point because it's
Yeah,
past.
that's like 40. I've been recording this, so that's like past 40 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, sweet.
Like, I love how you made your own, like, concoction coffee. Like, how cheap are we all? Like, because I once tried a juice diet, but I was too cheap to buy the actual juice diet. So I made my own juice with a load of stuff in it, and it was awful. But I did the same thing as you, Nick. I drank it like, I'm
Yeah.
so healthy.
I remember downing green tea powder in water because I was too cheap to buy the capsules. So I just put it in water and downing it over my sink because sometimes it was the first thing I did in the morning. Sometimes I would spew it back up straight into the sink.
Did anyone ever do the military diet? Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Is that
No,
the one
it
with
was
the
in the
eggs and
military.
stuff?
It was like in the military. No, it was like a grapefruit and toast in the morning, and then tuna and an egg, and then it was like a hot dog and ice cream at night or something. And they all these combination of foods had like this magical effect. But basically, what you do were just having shit like no calories hardly at all, and dropping a little water. And it's like 7 days and you drop a stone. It was ridiculous, but I was like, yeah, this is amazing. I'm gonna do this every other week.
Did it work though?
Well, I dropped water, so I was like, yeah, amazing. I've dropped 5 pounds. 5 pounds, so I'm not shoveling food in my mouth anymore.
Do you know what? I remember actually reading about it, looking at it, and thought, you won't be able to stick to that. And I didn't even bother.
I was like, a hot dog and ice cream? Hells yeah, sign me up.
See, I saw
remember-
grapefruit and toast and thought, nah.
Yeah,
I
it's
remember
right.
doing the actual military diet when I was doing my military training, and they would send you out bush with rat packs, which are like packets of expired chocolate and dog food, essentially. But everybody got the same rat pack, and I was twice the size of everybody. So I was just eating what a normal sized person should eat, and then I dropped heaps of weight when I first joined up, and then I got sick and put it all back on. But yeah, the actual military diet also works.
Oh, well, we should package that up and sell it, because that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Chocolate
Just
dog.
rebrand some dog food and expired chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can do the green tea thing over the sink in the morning as well. That can be part of the morning ritual.
The worst bit of that was that I would try and aim it back in my glass so that I wouldn't lose any.
So gross.
That is horrendous. Do you know what I was thinking then? See, when you were talking about keto, that was like, I had a brief dabble in keto when I worked in my last workplace. And didn't know what I was doing, but it was just, everything was just meat and fat. Didn't actually specifically look it up, but I got some rough guidelines and I was just eating this stuff all day, every day. It was working initially, but I kept, I knew I was doing things wrong, so it would get to the afternoon and then I would I think I was putting myself in and out of ketosis every day because there was a point in the afternoon where I would be feeling awful and sick, but then it would go away again by the morning. And then this guy at my work was like, yeah, what is it that you're doing? So I wrote down this list of instructions of what to do and like all these things to skip, right? And then he started doing it and he lost like a stone in his first 3 weeks. I was like, oh yeah, this is great. Maybe that's how this all kicked off with me helping people lose weight. awful advice at work with my handwritten notes of eat this and don't eat this and you'll lose all this weight.
I think a lot of people who say they're doing keto don't actually get to do ketosis.
They don't at all.
They just...
It's just the reduction in calories and the suppression of hunger, really, that, they don't genuinely get there.
Yeah.
Because you're meant to get into this position where it's like a euphoric feeling and you're meant to have all this clarity and...
Oh, man.
Euphoria without bread.
I did it for like a year and I got all the mental stuff, but man, my performance suffered.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what? I listened to that podcast the other night and you spoke about it, didn't you? You were talking about you had a terrible season. No, it wasn't. It was that you done your live chat, wasn't it?
Yeah, I actually talked about it on both, yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned how you had a terrible season with the rugby and stuff whilst you were falling.
Yeah.
Dropped lots of weight, but...
Yeah, I dropped loads of weight. Yeah, but my performance sucked, man. And I literally came back the next season, and all I changed is I'd stopped following like low carb, and I was just eating like mostly protein, and then whatever else I wanted, whatever fitted my macros, and it included heaps of carbs. And then all of a sudden, I was playing like a fucking weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a stint on keto in my bodybuilding prep. So when my fat loss stalled, my coach put me on keto for a little bit.
Yeah.
But it sucked so bad. My training was horrific.
Yeah.
I mean,
I train in the gym.
For some people, they like it. Great. Not for me. And especially when performance is like important to you. They kind of say it's like having a car with 6 gears, but only ever being able to use 5th gear. You just can't get to that top level.
Yeah.
I've never
Speaking
tried
of
it.
You've never tried it?
I've never tried ketosis. I've tried low carb. I find that if I don't have many carbs like breakfast, lunch, like cravings and hunger is great. I'm fine. But I can't
that's
go
what
a full day without it.
I wasn't as hungry with keto. That's what I found. But
I'll still end up eating them in the evening. But like I can get through my day easier. But I don't think it's that. I don't pick it to do.
Speaking of your bodybuilding prep, Sky, that picture you put up on Instagram the other day, fuck, you're Shredsville right there.
Yeah, man.
When was that?
I was. Pardon?
When was that? I think
that was the end of 2017.
Yeah.
So 18
you look
months.
like you're covered in dick skin.
Yeah, man. I was shredded to the bone. But yeah, good experience. I would do it totally different now. No offense to my coach, like she was great, but when you start to delve into the evidence-based stuff, there were a lot of things that I did that were totally unnecessary.
Yeah, and you must think a lot of it was quite dangerous as well.
Yeah, like I made myself lactose intolerant because obviously we cut anything with lactose out, and then you obviously stop producing lactase, and then you become lactose intolerant, and then stopped my bodybuilding prep, and was then drinking lattes all day, every day. So
just
much
drinking neat
milk.
lactase, straight at the ball, yeah.
What Sky? What symptoms did you have? When you became lactose intolerant, how did your symptoms present?
I didn't know until I reintroduced it.
And then is it like
I was just super ill, like really bad cramps, really bad bloating, pain in my stomach. But like,
I was in the toilet, just like,
yeah. So I kind of just persevered with it. And
that scene from the movie in there,
White Chicks. Yeah, that was me.
We're all friends here.
I want to be that graphic, Nick, but yeah, that was me. But yeah, I persevered with it and it went, but I would never do that again because it's totally unnecessary. But yeah. Shred.
See, I was victim of the whole intolerance testing thing. I had a they cut out a piece of my hair at the back, like the size of a 2p piece. I know, and you saw the meltdown I had over the haircut, and I was so desperate because I had acne for a while, and I was like, I want to get rid of this. So I had this intolerance test. They cut the hair out, and then after doing more research, all these tests do is tell you what you're eating the most of.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense that if you're having certain symptoms, it's going to be whatever you're eating the most of, isn't it? So it was a waste of time.
I can't believe they cut your hair.
Well, it showed up as milk, so I stopped eating all dairy when I could have just got, like, just reduced it. And now I get hives whenever I have it. And, like, it's almost not worth me trying to build the tolerance back up because I can't deal with the hives.
Yeah.
They're all on, like, my neck, my face. They're awful when it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get anything like that. Luckily, I would have stopped if I'd have got that.
Oh, I wouldn't have tried introducing it back. Yeah. I don't miss stuff that much anymore. I can get away with goat's cheese. It's naturally low in lactose, but
Goat's cheese is amazing.
I occasionally miss red Leicester, though. And a cheese string. Cheese strings are like...
Can't be a red Leicester.
I once did an eating challenge, and it was this mountainous burger. It was so big, you know, when I was about 10 or 15 kilos heavier, and I fancied myself a bit of an eater. So I just go around to all these restaurants, eating their food and getting free, like, pictures on the wall, and I wouldn't have to pay for my meal, and I get free T-shirts and whatever. And then
Nicholas's food.
Let's do that instead.
Well, I did one, and it was like, oh yeah, 3 meat patties, and then this is obviously before I was vegan, 3 meat patties and like chicken wings on the side, and like 3 different kinds of cheese, and blah blah blah. And then they brought it out, and it literally was like this tall, and it looked like they had like these meat patties covered in cheese, and I was like, oh, there's more than 3, awesome. And then I bit into one, and it was just a wheel of goat's cheese wrapped in cheese. It was so disgusting. I literally ate a wheel of cheese, and that was it. I was done. I didn't eat any of the burger, any of the chips or the cheese or anything that I wanted. I just ate this fucking wheel of cheese for no reason. And I had to pay for it. It cost me like £45.
For cheese.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring you a wheel of cheese to taste studies.
Yeah, I won't eat it now.
I won't eat it now.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
how long have you been vegan then?
Bit over 6 months now, actually.
Is that it?
And I was like, yeah, that's it. But I was like, before then, I'd been veggie on and off, and pescatarian, and ovo, blah blah blah. Like, I'd always had an issue eating meat, so I'd go on and off it, pretty much based on how much I cared about how I looked versus how much I cared about the animals. And it would always, you know, as I cared more about the animals, then I would start to look shitter, and I would swap that around. And so, anyway, eventually when I figured out nutrition, I was just like, well, I don't need to worry about that anymore. So.
I was going to say, have you noticed anything in the last 6 months different?
I definitely have more energy, and like, so the way I like to describe it is when I wasn't vegan, I would have like 1 day a week, I would feel amazing, like 100%, and the rest I'd feel like 60%. And now I feel like 85% all the time. So I don't have that 100% day, but I also don't have anything less than like 85%.
That's an interesting way to explain it.
I'm making the move from pescatarian to veggie right now.
I didn't even know you were pescatarian.
Yeah, I did that.
Yes, like, I've been eating meat and stuff. Like, I just don't buy it. Like, I don't ever go shopping and be like, right, I need to get chicken and red meat and whatever. But like, if I'm out to eat and I fancy it, like, I'll eat it. But I can give or take, and I'm not like crazy about it anymore. So I was just finding that my food was naturally just like fish and like veg and eggs. So I've just kind of been like trialing this week, like, how easy is it to get protein as a veggie? And it's so easy, like, it's ridiculous. So Yeah.
Where are you getting it from then? Like, 'cause for anybody who watches this.
Yeah, so
Where
I've
would you
kept
get-
dairy, and obviously like dairy, eggs, protein powder, but like pea protein, and honestly like beans and veggies and lentils and stuff. You wouldn't believe like how much you can actually get from that. Like I made a veggie burger last night, which was fortified with pea. Oh, damn it. Sorry, that was my phone. Then I had like
go back. It was 45 what?
with pea protein.
Pea protein, right?
Yeah, and then I had a bagel thin that was like a protein one again.
Yeah.
And then just like some beans and cheese, and it came to like 50 grams of protein. So I figure if I'm just like super adventurous, like we always advise to vegetarians anyway, get a variety in. You're gonna kind of get the complete proteins, but then I've also got eggs and Greek yogurt and cheese. So I don't think I'll be able to give them up.
Why did you pick pea protein when you could have whey anyway?
I'm not like being specific, but I don't really have milk anyway. So yeah, so that's the reason I wouldn't like turn my nose up at it, but I just don't really have that much milk anymore.
What's it taste like? Does it taste different to the whey?
Not really. Depends like the brand and the flavour.
Yeah, does yours not? Because that was the last thing that I went, like that was the thing that put me into fully vegan was I fucking hate vegan protein. It tastes terrible, especially compared to whey.
Yeah, I just have it in stuff, so I don't really drink it. So I guess maybe it's different. I'm like putting flavour drops with it and put it in yogurt or put it in my oats. So the texture's different. Like the texture's not the same, but
yeah.
How many grams of protein do you have a day, Nick?
Me?
Out of interest, yeah.
Depending on the day, but I try and get 250 plus.
Fucking hell, that is...
Yeah.
I was sure I'd heard you say a number like that recently, and I was like, man, that is some amount of protein.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So I try and get like...
What are your sources?
So I eat, I guess it's eating in water, but I take a lot of vegan protein powder, mostly out of convenience, because I just hate meal prepping for work and stuff. And then outside of that, heaps of soy. Like I drink probably like a liter of soy milk a day, at least one like 500 gram tub of soy yogurt, probably a block or two of tofu. Like it's just an easy, non-thinking way of protein for me, because I get really hung up on the complete protein stuff. If I start having beans and stuff, I'm like, what grain protein am I going to have with it to try and make it complete? And I just get too into it. So I'm just like, fuck it. And I try and hit like about 160, which is kind of like my minimum protein requirement. I try and hit that with soy and the protein powder and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's all complete. And then I just have bonus on top, which is like beans or whatever I have as my like other food sources.
I guess that's kind of the reason why I want to keep the eggs and the yogurt, because I'm like, that's my complete.
Yeah, exactly. So I just get my complete from soy. Yeah.
Is tofu complete?
Yeah, all soy is complete. It's just like when you compare it to whey, which is what everything's compared to anyway, it's like it's a 66% as good. It's still complete, but to have the bioavailability, I just have like 1.5 of what I would have if it was whey. So that I have like 5 meals of 50 grams of protein pretty much.
So you have that much because you're expecting not as much to be used?
Yes and no. I actually ate about the same amount of protein when I wasn't vegan. I just now, I don't know. I think I also, before I was vegan, I thought I needed more protein than I probably do anyway.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've kind of learned is that we can get away with quite a little protein and still retain muscle. So
yeah,
that's cool.
I've had bad experiences with birds. I had this budgie that I loved, and it went out the window.
Oh. I begged my granddad to get a parrot.
Did you throw it out the window? Like, what happened? How did it get out the window?
No, the window was open. It used to fly around the room. The window was open a little bit, and it was sitting at one window, and this seagull flew past the window, and it shit itself, and then took off, straight towards the other window, hit the window,
Oh,
and then went out. And then flew away, and that was it. And I had to leave. I left the window open with the cage sitting at the window for days. Just staring. Just waiting on it to come back.
how old were you?
Oh God.
No, this is
Right.
like, were you going to say how old was I? This wasn't childhood. This was adult.
Yeah, this was last week.
You know how
Why
when
did
you
you
let a
leave the
fish
window
into
open?
like, you know when you let a fish into like bigger water and it gets bigger, right? Like fish always grow to their environment. Can you imagine if your budgie one day came back fucking massive?
Yeah, picking up, bringing rabbits home,
Size of an owl. Sitting on your window. I
An
tasted.
albatross.
coming home with cats. In its talons. A blue bird with a cat in its talons.
Fuck, this has been long, but it's been really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've not
we
really
haven't
had
got
much
onto
structure,
any
but yeah, it's been cool.
real topics.
Yeah,
There might
Yeah.
be something of worth in there somewhere.
It's just an intro. It's just an intro.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
An intro, first one, find out a little bit about everyone, and then we can maybe start planning like specific things to cover. But we don't have to do this like weekly or anything. This could be a monthly thing for now, which would be
Of
I was
course.
going to say, I don't think any of us
I
can
had
commit
enough
to this
anxiety
weekly.
already. I can't do this weekly. I love you all, but I can't do this weekly.
Yeah, I reckon just do the next one at Nottingham when we're all there.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, with,
Yeah,
with
well,
a drink.
You're only
Yeah.
I'll
now.
bring this and we can all sit round it and be like, yeah, we'll just all take a side.
That would actually work.
Piss in the microphone.
I've never had a Monster.
What?
Don't
Don't
really like
do it.
orange drinks.
I would say that.
You're so
Yeah.
cool with nevers.
I don't like the taste of Red Bull, and I assume they're going to taste.
No, but Red Bull's like
No.
They're
Red
nothing
Bull,
like Red Bull.
awful. Monster's amazing. Don't
Yeah.
do it because you'll never look back.
white
Yeah,
Monster.
don't do it.
I don't really drink
Can't
fizzy
be
drinks though.
Don't drink Monster.
Yeah, they bloat me.
Don't start
They're
watching
massive.
porn. They're both downhill slopes. It's not anything you should do.
What have you just likened
It's
Monster
a
to?
gateway drink.
Oh, did you miss
It's a
that in the
gateway
group chat?
drink, that's it.
What is he liking it
Have a
to?
Monster and it is all downhill from there.
It's addictive as heroin.
Yeah, you'll be out selling the shit off
Oh,
your back.
that's sugar, remember?
Right, anyway, this is getting like ridiculously off topic. Fucking.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go anyway because I've got yoga soon. Check me out. I'm a veggie that does yoga now, so...
Do you know what, Jacob? We've got an app for Jacob's nursery. Forget the name of it, but you get the helpers at the nursery put like reports on it and just kind of keep you updated and stuff. And he was doing yoga last week. So it was
Baby yoga.
Yeah, so it was telling you about his yoga and he was really good and his motor skills were great and I'm just like picturing him. You imagine a bunch of
In the
3-year-olds
warrior.
doing yoga, like standing on one leg like this. Like,
Downward dog.
yeah. But it was funny, like off the back of seeing your thing the other day, Sky, when you were at that kind of retreat place. That was cool.
Oh yeah,
That
she's
was
asked me
from
to
that
do a talk there on mindful eating, which is quite cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very cool.
Oh, you keep leaving that out. We know what she is.
Who's that for, Jax, actually?
But we've got a baby, so that's for the baby, obviously. That's for the baby massage
People actually
classes.
use that on babies?
No.
Yeah,
Live.
that's what it's for.
I would say this gets used more on everything else that's not to do with babies. Maybe we should do some research on that. How often does baby oil get used on an actual baby?
Christy's like this. Oh, clogs are turning.
Yeah, must be
Yeah,
baby
yeah,
oil
wait a
tonight.
second.
Christy's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to get sacked.
Sorry, we'll cut this.
Teachers are allowed to have sex.
Nobody told me.
Oh. Well, I think what we should do, in a really non-weird way, is introduce Christy to her first porno in Nottingham.
How is that
Yeah,
going
we'll
to be
do that,
not
yeah.
weird?
Hey?
Yeah, we'll get
How
on
is
Bang
that
Bros.
gonna
We'll
be
go out
not
for
weird?
dinner and sit with Bang Bros on a tablet.
All right, Jason, whipping out the website.
I don't know if you guys ever
We
did
know
this.
what you get up to
'cause
in
I
your
was a weird
office.
kid. I was a weird kid, right? But me and all my mates, it might just
Where
be a
is this
guy thing.
going?
This is
It might
just a
just be a
chat.
me thing, but we would all sit around and watch porn together.
You need to edit this
weird
out.
It was weird then. It's going to be weird now. But I don't think it's a good idea.
Mutual porn watching. And is that all you did? You just watched it?
I've
Yeah.
just got the best
What did you do? Did you talk
ever.
about it or what? Did you discuss it or did you critique it?
No. You just, like, everybody just sits there and watches it. They don't look at each other. And then at the end,
First rule of porn club is
Oh,
don't
where
make
are
eye
you?
contact.
at the
I
end,
can't see you.
everybody's just sweaty and out of breath, and then they just move on to the next.
Fuck me. I'm leaving this conversation
Oh
now.
my god.
Wait, Jason, just before she goes, can you go right close to this big microphone you've got and be like, Dr. Love on Smooth Radio?
Why does it cut? Is it really loud when I get
It goes really, it goes really deep.
That's what
That
she
was
said.
not meant to be an innuendo.
Do it!
No, I'm not doing it.
He's thinking about it. He's like going in, going
I
out.
was thinking, I was thinking of something else.
Oh, right.
Right.
Let's log out. Peace out, team.
Ciao.
See ya.
Been a pleasure.
Bye.
Good luck editing this shit.
Say bye, but I don't know how
Yes.
to actually turn it off.
I'm glad you volunteered for that, Nick.
Yeah, well done, Nick. Top man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get back to us with
Right.
a rough edit by Monday. That would be great.
We have to go.